me, it's easy to come in and say, hey, it's unacceptable where the Fire have been the past couple of years, and I think everybody knows it.
If you're gonna bring all these stars and Real Madrid in, these kind of things like have really just jump-started itself. Chicago got deprived of it for a few years when we were so bad. And it didn't die, but it took a lot of us like really stoking the fires to keep it alive. So this is a nice little show-off Chicago piece.
Sweet home Chicago, and it is so good to be back. I used to live right here with two of my best buddies I grew up with, sandwiched between two of the better blues clubs in the country, Kingston Mines just across the street, and getting a chance to play for one of the clubs with the most tradition in MLS, Chicago Fire, the club that drafted me, and for supporters group that welcomed me with open arms. After a couple rough years, the club has reimagined itself, culminating in this moment against the best club in the world, MLS All-Star, right here in Chicago. Just got it.
You're very colorful.
I know, right?
Oh, hello! It's like we planned it or something.
A testament to your sports fandom.
Yes.
You've got it written in ink.
I do. My dad and I had a pact that if the Cubs ever won the World Series, we would get a Cubs tattoo together.
Your dad and you.
My dad.
Does he have any tattoos?
No.
Okay.
No tattoos. The man is 70 years old.
That's so cool.
That's true love right there.
No, I mean,
It's funny, people have asked me, like, where does soccer kind of fit? Like, is there room for it here? And the thing is like, there absolutely is. I mean, even when I was growing up, like, soccer was a big deal. As we look at, like, the soccer landscape right now and, like, the fan base and how it's, like, younger, like, all those kids that, like, grew up playing and all the kids that are playing now, they're watching the Fire. And guess what? Like, the Fire are doing really good this year, and that's exciting. And so I feel like, look, Chicago loves a championship team, right? And if the Chicago Fire can start winning a championship, the city is like fully going to embrace it. It makes me like super proud to kind of like be a part of this. Oh no, I'm gonna use the word movement. Oh no! Oh, soccer movement, no! What did I just do?
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible, terrible.
we can end the episode.
That's it. No, it's lovely.
It's All-Star.
It's pretty cool,
Now's the time to be indulgent.
right? We're here.
First of all, this is a pretty cool spot, man.
spot's dope.
I had to say your name a couple times to just get
Just to
into
get in
this
here?
place. Yeah.
You used to run this city, I know. I've been to a couple places and name dropped you, and
Okay.
I got kicked out immediately.
Running the show now.
You're a trailblazer, man.
no.
You basically got Toyota Park built.
I did not.
So I used to have one of these tables back in my place.
Are you serious?
My dad got me one for Christmas.
I never see you in the West Village anymore. What happened?
Yeah, you stepped up into the neighborhood, and I had to get out of there.
Had to vacate?
I heard you're a bad dude.
So when you moved here, you come from a team that had been so successful for a long time, coming to a club that had been, frankly, on hard times.
Yes.
What's it been like to be a part of that turnaround?
I think saying coming to a club that had been on hard times is putting it lightly. You're being very polite. It was one of those situations where you think about it, and at first you're like, oh wow, this sucks. I'm going to one of the worst teams in the league. But then you take a step back and you start to have that belief in yourself that like, hey, they traded for me for a reason. If I could come in and help turn this team around, help turn this club back into a winner, that'd be a really cool feeling. And I want to be known as a winner. You know, the one thing, my biggest regret leaving New York was not winning an MLS Cup, and Chicago hasn't won an MLS Cup for quite some time, since maybe their first year in the league, I believe. So that's motivation enough right there.
A lot of the guys they brought in are winners. You know, some of those.
Yeah.
Obviously, Baschi, World Cup winner.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's
that's
won a
been
couple things in his career.
Yeah.
And that's where I think you have to give a guy like Nelson Rodriguez a lot of credit. You know, the first thing that he thought of when trying to put our team together was, I want guys that have been through not only tough moments in their careers, but also have been through a lot of positive moments. Guys that are used to winning and what that feels like. It's almost like creating a winning culture starts off the field. And then once you get on the field, it all translates over. And so a guy like me, you know, who's been in MLS for a long time and done a lot of battles with Chicago Fire, I know what that passion means and I know what that history means. So in MLS, I don't think any team should ever be at the bottom for more than 1 or 2 seasons. You know, in the Fire, they haven't made the playoffs in quite a long time. So for me, I always thought that was unacceptable, and we're trying to do everything we can to get back to winning ways.
Next man on list is Nelson Rodriguez, the general manager of the Chicago Fire. Nelson.
Thank you very much. You know, the Chicago Fire exists for two primary reasons. One is self-evident, it's to win trophies. But the second is to serve our community by being a good neighbor.
Why the South Side and why now?
There's no better time to help children than now, anywhere. And so we have an obligation, and I mean that sincerely, an obligation to serve our community. And we talk about wanting the Fire to be a good neighbor. You can't always lead, but you can always lend and be supportive and assist. And the South Side, because look, let's look around and see what we're competing against. We are competing with the insidious elements that exist all around us. And it speaks to tradition, honor, passion, you know, our three main values for the club.
Coming back here has been really special for me. And the club bringing me back too for the 20th anniversary. That was something that I know meant a lot to me and a lot of my teammates. With the benefit of perspective coming from outside, what do you think were some of the issues that caused a downturn in the product on the field, or maybe led the Chicago Fire astray from the proud tradition that they really built?
You know, every time they seemed poised to move forward with a plan and a path, there was an unexpected happenstance, and maybe the reaction to that was too quick. And I want to try to say that non-judgmentally, because I know the people that came before, and I know they're good men and they're good soccer men, and they were caring and they tried hard. But losing Jermaine Jones to a blind draw, you know, that was not a function of not having resources or not having a plan. That was just how it went down. Losing Drogba because in the final instant he wanted to be in a city which was more to his native language and for his children. You know, it's a humane reason to lose a guy, but the reaction to those maybe didn't go as well as hoped. What I can say is, Pano and I laid out a plan. We've been quizzed on that plan. We've been questioned on that plan, which I think is appropriate. But we've been given the resources, and hopefully with more time, we can execute it to what we hope is the ultimate fruition, which is a championship program, something that we say is sustainable, where you've won or are competing for trophies on a regular basis.
How special is it for the club to get a chance to host the All-Star game?
Well, I think it's singular. I know that the club had this opportunity once before, over 10 years ago, but with the league growing and expanding as it is, it could be another generation. It could be another 20 years before it comes back, because everyone wants their taste of this special event. For me, we're at halftime, and the only thing you get at halftime are oranges, not trophies. And so we need to remain grounded. We need to remain hungry with what we want to achieve, because we really have not achieved anything yet. I don't think we lost our supporter groups. They may have issues with me, or they may have issues with previous general managers. They may take exception to a coach's decision, but they always support the team. Beyond the winning, I think we're playing in a way that this sophisticated audience really appreciates.
So let's take it back to the beginning. Getting drafted by the Fire, I'd never been to Chicago.
Really?
To be honest, it's embarrassing, but I had to Google where Chicago was on the map.
Dude.
I know, I did not say that in the media when I got drafted. But when I got here, I met Section 8 right away. The first people I met at the Meet the Team appearance.
Number 1 is Calen Carr. Number 2 is Calen Carr. And number 3, this is when everybody got the song, is Calen Carr. Number 4 is Calen Carr. We all dream of a team of Calen Carrs. We've never used that song again. We stole it, obviously. We've never used it again, and we'll never use it again. I would go to Open Cup games. In 2006, we get this brand new stadium, and here I am, like in the Capo stand, and Calen here puts in this phenomenal goal on the back post. Was it your first for the Fire?
First goal.
And the man just runs right by Section 8 and on the ground, blesses the turf. And it hasn't been as fruitful for us as maybe that kiss should have made it, but that was just something special. It was a moment never to be tarnished, not even by Andy Dorman, I don't care. It was just an absolute great moment for us to make it feel like home.
Do you think Chicago gets overlooked or forgotten about?
I think we get taken for granted. Without that re-injection of energy, which has happened this year with Dax and Bastian and Nico and the continued services of David Acomste, and it's great. It's what's helping the league grow. It's like what's making the league prosper in what it is today, and like it's all worked out for the best. But there was definitely a time for a few years when you get on that pub to pitch and you're trekking out to Toyota Park for your 17th, 18th draw of the season. And like whether it was you were down 2-0 and you get the 2-2 draw and you're like, kind of feels like a win, but it's not 3 points. And like that really lulled a lot of Chicago fans. And this renaissance that we've had this year through Pano, through Nelson, it really has just inspired everyone to get reinvested and recommitted.
What about today? All-Star game, we got to, on the spirit of,
Yes, and pulling from Major League Soccer, we're all about it today.
The 2017 MLS All-Star game from a sold-out Soldier Field in Chicago. It's the MLS All-Stars in blue, and there's Real Madrid in their very familiar white.
Soccer was not like a sport we watched, like growing up in the city. I mean, I grew up in the Michael Jordan era, so it was basketball, and then there was football with the Chicago Bears. So soccer was really never something that was big. So for me, it's pretty cool for like the young kids in the city, my kids to be able to, kind of look at a different sport, and see it and play.
You do so much for the community, and we've built fields here in the city. How important is it to help kids get opportunities to play sports here?
Well, it's very, it's cliche, but they are our future, and you want to be able to, to do your part to make sure that, the future is taken care of, that it's better, to give kids a dream, a vision, any hope, it's what you need to do.
In many ways, coming back to Chicago this week, everything it's come full circle. I remember moving here as a 23-year-old kid, never been to Chicago, and just trying to be noticed, get attention, start my career. So to come back 10 years later, see familiar faces, guys that I've played with, guys I've played against, guys I've looked up to, World Cup stars, legends, and fans, people that remember me from those years, 10 years ago. The Fire will always be an important part of me. I remember getting a little emotional when I got traded, and that's because of the people that I met here in Chicago. Coming back and seeing fans remember me from my time here, talk about goals or specific moments, interactions that we had together, makes me feel really proud of the work that this club is doing to build that sense of community that extends beyond the stadium. I get a chance to travel all over the country now to discover what's so special, what's so unique about the different markets. And sometimes I feel like Chicago gets forgotten. So to come back now at our biggest stage to see MLS reward Chicago and their fans, their faithful, for sticking through some difficult times, and now see the club re-emerging with a new energy, with a new commitment to tradition, honor, passion, at a time where there's a real reason to be inspired. Yes, it's only halftime, but Chicago, we're on the way.
Only deal with greatness, so high D is on the beat.